All right, very pleased to be joined now by the man, the myth, the legend. I feel like we should have some intro music for him. I feel like we're doing him a disservice by not having some. Rick Dhaliwal joins the program. Rick, it's been too long since we've had you on the show, my friend. How are you?
Oh, couldn't be better. It's a beautiful look at outside. Look at outside. Is there a better place in Canada to be than in Vancouver on a day like this? It's a beautiful sunny day. It's August, and happy to be with you guys. Absolutely happy to be with you guys.
And no smoke. No smoke. It's nice.
Exactly.
Rick, we'll start. This is the first time we've chatted with you in a while, but the 650 closures. I know you and I were texting about it. We went back and forth. Like the 650 closures caught us all off guard. It absolutely sucks, but I just want to give you a chance to kind of give your reaction to it.
I think it was a month today, wasn't it, guys? I think it was exactly 4 weeks today. It's still tough driving in your car, not hearing 650 or WX. WX was on my car list as well for stations. You got traffic news. My first job in Vancouver, guys, 96 was at CKWX. You get sports at 15 and 45 past every hour. Look, I really miss my hits on 650 with Halford and Bruff, 8 o'clock. Even though those guys, all they did was rip the hell out of me. But look, AM radio is in trouble in this country. The talk format is too expensive, too many eyes and ears, and revenue left radio for, too many eyes and ears and revenue left radio, TV, and newspapers for social media. That's what caused the downfall of mainstream media. Look, guys, I'm way older than you two. When I grew up in the 80s, I would listen to Jim Robson on my, little Walkman, CKNW for sports. At 3:30 every day, I'd wait for the paper boy. Every Tuesday, the sports section in the Province and the Sun had the Canucks Lions stats for the week. And it was just like I was a kid in a candy store. Television, it was John McKeechee, Bernie Pascal, Barry Houlihan. But those were much simpler times. Twitter now, it's a disaster. It's unregulated. It's a free-for-all. You got 1,000 Canuck reporters, landscapers, plumbers, eye doctors who claim to have Canuck sources. And they just throw shit out and people believe it. It's really sad. Really sad times. There's no accountability on Twitter. You just tweet anything out. Anything goes. Everything they taught us in school, Twitter is the opposite, right? Reporting isn't what it used to be. Twitter's the worst thing that happened to honest reporting. It really is, guys. But I'm still really fucking mad what happened to radio, AM radio in Canada. So many good people out of work. What kid right now is thinking about going to BCIT for broadcasting? Like, honestly, why would you? It's such an unstable industry. I'm really hoping for those 650 and WX staff to get new jobs. Radio's been a big part of my life, 32 years. I worked in radio. It's in my blood. It's a huge part of my life. We went from 2 all sports stations to 0 in Vancouver. Think about that for a second. We went from 2 in the second biggest city in the country, went from 2 all sports stations to 0. Look, and this isn't good news for the Canucks. I'm going to tell you right now, like 650 going down is not good for the Canucks, because whether 650 was negative or positive, they were talking Canucks. That is gone now for 12 hours a day. It's not good for the Canucks. It's not good for the Lions. Not good for the Whitecaps. Not good for the Vancouver Giants. It's not good for the BC Hockey League. It's not good for Junior B. It's not good for university sports. Say the UBC Thunderbirds go to the Vanier Cup. Who's going to talk about it now? Look, guys, it still bothers me. Look, I'm at the end. It doesn't matter if they give me my pink slip. I'm more concerned about guys like you two that stay in the game, the young people. That's where my thoughts are. They could fire my ass tomorrow. I don't care. I've been in it 37 years. I'm okay. I could walk away tomorrow. But it's the young people I'm concerned about. It's the young kids at school. At BCIT, where do they go when they finish that 2-year course? Where do they go? Like, how do you find these guys a job? That's where my thoughts are. Like, I don't care. They could fire my ass tomorrow. But I'm concerned about guys like you, too, who are young in the industry, stay in the game. How do you stay in the game now? How do you stay in the game when, TV, radio is dying in Canada, newspapers are having a tough time, streaming is killing television. Like, I grew up on TV, newspapers, and radio. It's killing me inside. What's happening? It's killing me. What's happening in this country with media. So, look, guys, my biggest thing is for two young guys like you. And I'll tell you this. I know Donnie and Dolly, we're going to try to keep doing what we do best. That's, provide local. We have a great BC-born company, CHEK. No suits in Toronto, no Bell, no Rogers. Tell us what to do. They got zero say in our show. We got a great boss, Rob Germain, who lets us do our stuff, Donnie and I. I had a great boss in Gary Rabel. You can't get anywhere in life without help. And I know the people that helped me, and I'll never forget them. But Gary Rabel was the first guy to teach me about local and teach me how to write a cast and do all that stuff. I'll never forget him. But what I'm trying to say is, it's killing me inside what's happening to mainstream media in this country. But I'm going to keep fighting. Donnie's going to keep fighting and stay in the game as long as we can. If we can, great. If not, it's time's up. But I'm more concerned about guys like you two, to keep in the game and keep going.
Very well said. Very well said. Shifting to the Canucks, yeah. I wanted to ask you, they've got the majority of their business done. Of course, we're sitting here in well into August now. One piece of business I wanted to ask you about, Zeev Buium and Liam Öhgren are both extension eligible. Their contracts will be up at the end of next season. We're seeing a trend where some teams are moving quickly to try and sign their young, soon-to-be RFAs as quickly as possible. What are you hearing, or what do you think the Canucks are going to do with respect to potentially trying to get Buium and Öhgren signed?
Oh, I've been on both those guys. I've been told nothing to report on both players as of now. It's pretty quiet. Canucks have time with both players. Look, they both got 1 year left on their deals. Mid-September is the deadline to sign guys to 8-year deals. And then after mid-September, you're only allowed to sign 7-year deals in the NHL. Buium's going to be a big number. We all know that. Look at Carolina defenseman Alexander Nikishin. He's played 1 year in the NHL. He now wants over $8 million a year. Canucks might want to see more games before committing big term and big money to Buium. They might want to see more games, more window of his play before committing big bucks. He's only played 76 games in the NHL, but he's going to be a big part of the leadership group going forward. Good culture guy. Very impressive young man. Buium's been in town, guys. He was skating last week at 8 Rinks with Max Sasson. So he's been in town. He's showing, you a commitment right now by saying, hey, I'm in Vancouver right now. He loves it here. Very impressive young man. But I've been told quiet on both fronts as of now. I'm not hearing of anything hot and heavy going on there. But as of now, that things change with one. But Buium's going to be a big number, guys. I think everybody, and I've said this, and I said it on Bruff and Rough too, it's going to be a big number. And you look at contracts around the NHL. Have you guys, look at the Pittsburgh guy yesterday that signed 8 times 4, 47 games in the NHL, career, 2 goals, 23-year-old. You're starting to see some crazy contracts in the NHL. For me, I had to Google that guy's name. I don't know about you. I had to Google that guy's name. That's about the 4th or 5th guy I've had to Google who's had, money in the $4 or $5 million range. So, look, they'll take care of Zeev Buium. He's the biggest piece in the Quinn Hughes trade. Obviously, all sides have, touch base. You have to touch base with quality players like that. but I just been told it's quiet on that front. Listen, I want to talk to you guys about some UFAs. Agents are calling Vancouver on some of the remaining UFAs left. The Canucks are not biting yet on a contract. Maybe some of those guys get a PTO. I don't know. But Ben Hutton, to me, is interesting. I did hear there have been some conversations with Hutton's agent and the Canucks, but not sure where it goes. It's you just check in. Agents check in with teams. Ryan Johnson was a development guy when Hutton came into the NHL. Hutton's won a Stanley Cup, guys. Good veteran, good in the room. He can play up and down the lineup. You want 12 minutes, he'll give you 12. If there's injuries, you want 20, he'll give you 20. One of the biggest things this new regime's going to do is fix that dressing room. The Canucks dressing room has been the worst dressing room in the NHL the last 2 years. That's going to be fixed. And you fix it with guys like Hutton, who's a good glue guy, well-liked when he was in Vancouver. So there are still, there's still a lot of good UFAs left. And a lot of those UFAs are still calling teams and trying to get players with clubs. So I do know there's been some conversations with Hutton's agent, but I don't know where it goes, but nothing as of yet. I want to update you on a couple of guys too. Look, when it comes to Jonathan Lekkerimäki, I was told last night he's on pace to be ready for training camp, and he's doing great. Lekkerimäki had that season-ending shoulder surgery in February. Big year for him, guys. He just turned 22 a couple weeks ago. 5 goals in 37 NHL games. He's got to get going. And I'll tell you why he's got to get going, because every year the Canucks are now going to be adding a ton of high-end draft picks. And you know what? When you got a bunch of high-end draft picks coming in the coming years, some guys are going to get lost with all those players coming to Vancouver. And if he doesn't become an NHL regular soon, he's going to get lost with, look, we know Malholtra's coming. We know Novotny's coming. I really like those 2 picks, right? They're going to be coming in the next 2. Cootes is coming soon. So sometimes if the more it takes longer to become an NHL regular, you're going to have all these kids coming up behind you. So it's a big year for Lekkerimäki. He's got to stay healthy. And when he plays his NHL games, he's got to be impactful. I'm not giving up on the kid. There's a ton of skill there. There's something there. There's a reason he went in the first round. So it's a big year for him. Now, the other guy I want to give you an update, Thatcher Demko's on the ice. He's skating. He's working hard. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be ready for training camp. It's always a long road after you have hip surgery. So, and the other thing with Demko, guys, there's no need to rush him. Do not play that guy till he's 100% healthy. You know what he's gone through. What's he only played? 43 games the last 2-3 years? So, he's gone through the popliteus. He's now gone through hip surgery. Take your time. But the fact he's on the ice, he was at Britannia yesterday. You guys saw the video. That's a good sign. But I can't sit here and tell you if he's going to be ready for camp. I don't know that. I haven't had anybody tell me that. But the point is this. Great news. He's working his ass off. He's on the ice. That's all good. But take your time with him. No need to rush him.
Great updates there. I wanted to touch back quickly to something you mentioned earlier, where it's just this offseason, so many contracts for players across the board that are going through the roof. And especially you had, obviously, the Leo Carlson offers for agency, right? They're getting paid the big bucks, and they're putting themselves in a position to be free agents at 26 years old, meaning teams don't get the 7 and 8 years of control that they used to. You obviously have a lot of connections with agents. What have they been saying about the way the league is trending in terms of contracts and the overall player empowerment?
Well, the agents, first of all, bet. We're going to talk about the elite players, Harm. The agents are betting on the players. They know they're good. They know they're going to continue to be good. They know the cap's going up. They know they could still hit the bonanza money on that second, third-year deal. They're just betting on the players. Elite players, you bet on them, and you say, guess what? Well, you look at Bowen Byram, right? The agent knows coming out of that next deal with Chicago, if he continues to play well, he's still going to do well on his deal after this. He's still going to do well. It's just betting on the player. That's all it is, Harm. And when these elite players have long careers now, they eat right, they train right. You can have long careers now, but you got to do it the right way. But the way it's been told to me is agents are betting on the players are betting on themselves. Why lock in 7-8 years with the cap going up and up and up and up and up? We know it's going to go up. These guys, if they remain elite, they're going to get their money down on the next deal after this one anyways. So it's just like, look, the cap's going up. A lot of things are changing. A lot of players are, the agents are sitting there going, okay, so how do we adjust to this new cap world where there's a lot more money to play with? So it's just a situation where the elite guys are always going to be elite. They're always going to get their money, and they can get it on the next deal after the short deal anyways. You know that. They're not going to peter out at 27, 28, 29. They're still going to get paid after the next deal.
Rick, are the Canucks being cheap? I know it's kind of a blunt question, but we saw the stuff with the AHL coach that ended up in Colorado. Canucks apparently weren't offering very much money for that job. Are the Canucks being cheap in this rebuild?
Okay, so that's the question that's popped up. Let me say this. And with the salary cap going up and teams spending more and more on player salaries, some teams are going to cut on front office staff. Don't be surprised if some teams start using AI in front offices in the future. So a lot of teams can't go and spend to the cap. Remember, Canadian teams got to spend more when you convert salaries to American money, right? So keep that in mind. It's not 104 for Canadian teams, it's 120. So the Leo Carlson and Macklin Celebrini contracts, not all teams can do those numbers. They can't. Vancouver has not spent a lot on coaching and front office hires since Ryan Johnson took over. But that doesn't mean they're bad choices. Canucks did lose out on guys because of the money they were offering. You mentioned the Kitchener coach who won the Memorial Cup. Yes, he turned down the Abbey job because guess what? Of the money offered. He was making $250. The rumor is he was making $250 in the OHL. He was one of the highest paid OHL coaches. Well, guess what? The offer of Vancouver was nowhere near that. So the Abbotsford job to me, guys, is the most critical, important hire because of the wave of high draft picks coming to Vancouver in the next 3, 4, 5 years. The one area the Canucks cannot be cheap in is player development. They have to actually overspend there. Draft and develop. If they do that properly, they're going to get out of this rebuild a whole lot quicker. So far, Ryan Johnson's bigger player moves, what have they been, guys? Money in, money out. To make room for Gallagher, what do? Trade Öhgren. To make room for Alexiak, Marcus Pettersson trade. So it's been money in, money out on the bigger moves, like the big ones. So, and Johnson's still going to try and peddle Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Jake DeBrusk if he can. You still know he's still working the phones. But let me give you an example of the importance of Abbotsford. It's going to be this season, and you guys are going to see it. You're going to see it when Braeden Cootes hits the ice in Abbotsford. So you guys know that the NHL sent out informed teams in June that you can have one 19-year-old. I think it might be two. You guys can check into that. Look, I don't know Cootes' ceiling for offense at the pro level, but I do know one thing about him. His character's off the charts. He's going to wear a letter for Canada at the World Juniors. Someday he's going to wear a letter for the Canucks. When you talk to hockey people about Cootes, they rave about him. Okay, so leadership, character, plays the right way, first to the rink, last to leave. There's just a lot to like about Cootes. But this is where this coming season you're going to see where the Canucks development team will be put to the test. How do you handle a kid like Cootes at the pro level? The onus is always on the player, but the team's got to put him in a position to succeed in Abbotsford. So you're going to see this year Braeden Cootes in Abbotsford if he doesn't make Vancouver, and you're going to see him in Abbey. And that's where player development's going to come in. And I think that's where Canucks can't cheat. They can't be cheap, is player development. And look, Manny's not in Abbotsford anymore. Manny, if he didn't get the jump up to Vancouver, he would have been in Abbey handling Braeden Cootes. Well, the new guy, and don't get me to say his name because it ain't going to happen. The new guy, I'll just call him the new guy until I figure out how to say his name. The new guy, that's going to be one of his that's going to be one of his biggest jobs next year. Is Braeden Cootes. Is how do you get him acclimatized to the pro? One thing they're not going to have a problem with Cootes. He's a learner. He's a sponge for info. He is a dream draft pick in terms of character, on ice, off ice. That's not going to be the issue. The issue is going to be put him in a position to succeed and draft and develop. So you say, are the Canucks being cheap? And I'll get into that more in the practice facility, but I'll tell you this. I don't think they're being cheap, but I do believe that the coaching and management hires, they could have spent a whole lot more and they didn't. They didn't. Do you see any guys with NHL experience hired? I don't. But as Harm has said, and I heard Harm say, it doesn't mean they're bad hires. In fact, I've talked to some hockey people who are pretty impressed with some of the guys they've hired so far.
You touched on it there, the practice facility. Canucks announced an MOU. What's the latest with the potential practice facility?
Okay, so let me go here. I'm going to ramble. The Canucks have obviously zeroed in on Britannia for quite some time. Obviously, the location is perfect. It's 10 minutes away from the rink. The release last week, a little bit confusing for me. I don't think clarity-wise, I don't know what you guys thought about it. I don't think for clarity-wise, it was great. But the release last week said they're going to explore a building. They've been exploring for a long time, and they're well down that road. I believe there's a framework on who's paying for what already in place. But the Britannia site is a logistical nightmare. Stores, schools, community centers, all within the construction radius. Construction challenges with BC Hydro are significant, but they can be manageable. But it's going to take a lot, especially if a second rink were to be planned. Due to logistics and costs, the plan is to only utilize the existing arena and build upwards. That would take 12 to 16 months for completion, whenever it starts. The team and the city have talked about what it would take to add a second rink to the west of the existing building. It's a very tight fit and would take a ton of planning and coordination. I believe that's still being talked about, but by no means a guarantee. Everybody wants 2 or 3 rinks. I'll get into that. This would make the construction time longer if they added the second rink at Britannia. The city had a plan for Britannia, the area, before partnering up with the Canucks, so they are wondering if some of that money can be earmarked and put towards a second rink. This practice facility is comparable. The sheer cost of a building is greater in Vancouver than the U.S. land prices. The land prices are way more here than Washington State or Nevada, and you'd have to find a piece of land 20 to 30 minutes less from Rogers Arena, and that size is not easy. Doesn't matter who the ownership is. Also, look at the Canadian dollar right now, guys. It's not in a great spot. Canucks are a very hard organization to deal with. They run a tight financial ship, especially right now. But the city's been just as hard to deal with in this situation. The fact that the city hasn't built new rinks for minor hockey is more of an issue than the Canucks not building ice for minor hockey. Look at Tom Gaglardi in Dallas. He built all these rinks in Texas, is now being criticized for monopolizing minor hockey, running it as a business with high cost to use of that ice. So people need to be careful what they wish for. It's the start of a rebuild. Here's your answer, squads. It's the start of a rebuild. Canucks are budgeting as any team would. The brother buyout still could be a factor. That's going to be a lot of money buying that guy out. But there is money there to do the things they need to do. People need to understand that having a budget and sticking to it in a rebuild doesn't mean you're broke. Doesn't mean you're being cheap. It's a budget. I dealt with budgets when at 1040 when it started and when I got into management. And anybody who's dealt with budgets, everybody wants the budget to increase. Everybody does. That's human nature. But here's the reality. Revenue in, revenue out, money in, money out. Here's the budget. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're broke or you're cheap. This is what it is. The Canucks know this practice facility has to get done. I believe the Sedin twins and Ryan Johnson have put a breath of fresh air into ownership and the partnership with the city. By the way, guys, I heard this week that the ice started going into Rogers Arena this week. That ice doesn't go in usually till what? September? Late August?
Yeah, like early September, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody told me that the ice is already starting to go into Rogers Arena, but we're also starting the season earlier this year, right? So that's something for you guys to check into. Somebody told me that. But look, this practice facility, let's be honest, should have been done years and years ago. And I thought when it was first, I thought this Britannia would be clean cut. Let's do it. Let's start, put the shovel in right away. That doesn't, there's still a lot to be done. It's just never simple with these guys. And now, I don't know when the shovel goes in. And even when the shovel goes in, guys, it's going to be 12 to 16 months. And if it's a second sheet, it's going to be longer than that. It's not happening overnight.
All right, Rick. Last one from me.
Yep.
Elias Pettersson. He was a discussion point, obviously has been for a while now. The idea of him getting traded obviously was floated out there this offseason, right? Like people debated it more so. It looks like he's going to be at camp. It looks like he's going to be here.
Sure.
Do you think that he's going to come in ready to go and that like this new management group, you just said it, new breath of fresh air, they're repeating some of the same stuff we heard from previous regimes? Do you think that this is going to potentially, and not even from a point production perspective, but just from like an attitude and showing up to the rink and not hearing this criticism about preparation, do you think that this could be it for him, where he just gets to a level where he can actually prepare and we don't have to hear about this anymore?
Have we not been saying this for 2 years? Exactly what you said? Have we not been through this for 2 years? Okay, let me say this first on Pettersson. Video of Pettersson practicing in LA this week. And of course, a trade with the Kings is around the corner, right? According to the Twitter experts. His wife's from LA, guys. I mean, most likely the reason he's there. You're allowed to practice anywhere in the world. Like, would you prefer him not to train? Doesn't matter where they train, as long as they train. As far as I know, when I checked in last night, a Pettersson trade never got close in the last few months. The Canucks never went to his agents and said, hey, we got a team. Will you waive to go to this team? There's been a lot of conjuncture. There's been a lot of talks. There's a lot of teams checking in. It's a player, guys, with a massive salary who has underachieved for 2 straight years. Do you want to pay $11.6 million for a 50-point center? No, probably not. Teams probably want retention, $2 to $3 million. I know for a fact that one team told me to get in the Pettersson trade talks, they need retention, 2.5, close to 3 per year to make it work. It's not an easy contract to move. The Canucks may have no choice but to see how he go to camp, see how he plays, maybe try again at the trade deadline, and let's see how he does. Is he a first line center, second line center? Can he regain his old form? We've been saying that for 2 years. I mean, guys, the onus is on him. We know he's been a 100-point player. We know there's something there. He went high in the draft for a reason. Everything's there. We've seen it. We've all been like, holy smokes. He had 100 points. What a player. We've all done that. Last 2 years, he's gone backwards for whatever reason. It's not an easy trade to make. Still a lot of term left on that deal. It's not 2 or 3 years, guys. 6 years. There's term. This isn't 2 or 3 years left where it's easier to move a guy at $6-7 million. This is a guy with 6 years left at 11.5 who has dropped from 100 points to 50. That's not easy to move. You can try. You can listen to teams, but boy, oh boy. I think you let him go to camp. He's obviously working out. But again, it's going to be a tough year in Vancouver. They're going to be probably a lottery team again. Who are his wingers? Who are the finishers? I mean, so you want him to go from 50 points to 80 points? like one team told me, we think we can get him back to 80, 82, 83 points. Well, okay. So who's he playing with? Who are his wingers? I mean, a great centerman always needs finishers. He needs ample power play time. He needs a lot of stuff. Quinn Hughes ain't there anymore to help generate offense. Quinn Hughes is gone. So are they going to be one of the lowest scoring teams in the NHL? I don't know how he gets to 80, 90 points next year with this hockey club if they're going to be a low scoring team. So anyways, most likely you let him go to camp, squad, and then you just let him go to camp and let's see where it goes. But they tried. They tried at the draft. Teams called, but it's a tough contract to move.
Rick, thanks for doing this, man. It was awesome. We'll do it again soon. Cheers.
Anytime, guys. I come on with you guys. Just give me a call. And Donnie and Dolly starts on September 8th. So we're going to be back at it. And, hopefully, there's more shows, the 650 guys, and they can get some jobs going here. We need them back in. I can't tell you enough. The more the merrier in our industry, not less. So anyways, you guys keep doing what you're doing. I watch every day. You're doing a great job. It's young guys. I was young like you, starting out in the business back in 1990, in small towns all over BC, Alberta, paying my dues, unlike Henderson. But anyways, I was up there in small towns and paying my dues. But I don't care about anyone in our industry other than young guys like you guys. So just keep doing what you're doing and just keep plugging along, buddy.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks,
all right,
Rick.
guys. Yeah, you betcha.